Hello everyone! Today we're going to be drawing some koi fish in celebration of Inktober month. If you're new to my channel, I go by Ella Aquarela here on YouTube, and I love to share content around different types of art supply reviews, tutorials, watercolor paintings, and such. It just makes me happy to share it. I'm not a professional, but I really enjoy it. I haven't posted in a while because I've been moving and I was sick for a little bit, feeling a lot better now. And I thought Inktober would be a great way for me to get back into the swing of things and get some inspiration from the prompts. So I'll show you the supplies I'll be using and what inspired this fish painting based on the first prompt of Inktober month, which was fish. All right, so let's get started. So today my drawing that I'm gonna do, ink drawing, is inspired by this sketch that I made last year at the Chinese Scholars Garden in Staten Island, New York. I went with my mom when she was visiting, and that place is amazing. So if you're in the area, you should check it out. It's a very special place. It made me feel like I was back in Japan without having to travel. So very special. I love Japanese art supplies, stationery and culture, and the tea and the food and everything. So it's such a pleasure to work with Japanese materials. It relaxes me and it just makes me happy. So I'm gonna go through my materials before I start. I have a small flower palette where I'll mix different shades of the black ink. I'm only gonna be using black ink, which has been ground up, and I already ground it and put it into this little container to make my life easier and in the interest of time. But that ink, I made it by using this ink stone. This is actually like hard stone, and you would purchase an ink stick, kind of looks like this. There's actually solid ink that you can grind up. Using the ink stone, you put a little water and you like grind it and you create ink. So this is kind of the traditional way of creating Japanese and Chinese calligraphy ink. This particular ink stick is from a Japanese dollar store called Daiso. It was $1, very cheap. This one I bought on Amazon. If I can find the link, I bought it a few years ago, so I don't even know if they still sell this one, but I can look up a similar one and link it in the comments below in case you're interested. So I'm not going to be using the ink stick and stone in this video. There are many videos out there of artists grinding and showing how to create the ink. If you're interested in seeing that, I'm happy to do a video, so let me know in the comments below. I'm also going to be using this bamboo brush. It's a calligraphy brush. It really has two different types of hair, like a softer hair in the middle and a stiffer hair on the outside. It's an amazing brush. I don't know what it's called. I bought it in Chinatown in New York City at this kind of Chinese store where they had different calligraphy supplies. Also very affordable. It was maybe $2, but it's like one of my favorite brushes. And I should caveat this by saying that I am not an expert in Chinese or Japanese calligraphy at all, not even close. I just really enjoy working with the materials and using them and playing around with them. And I'm probably not using them like they're supposed to be used. I have no idea. I mean, I have watched many videos about how to do this, but I'm not, the best person to tell you what's actually traditionally the way to use this. So what I'm going to do is I have some water over here. So I'm watering down a bit of the ink. I want to make different shades of the ink, so lighter and darker. So I'll put more water and less ink in this one, and more ink and more water in that one, kind of to just get different shades of that black ink. So I'm probably just 3 shades. So I'll use this kind of medium one, a lighter one, and I'll use straight from the pot as well. Oh, and I should also talk about the paper. I'm so sorry. This is rice paper. This is Japanese rice paper that's used for traditional Japanese calligraphy. And this is a paper weight that is meant to kind of hold down the paper. And what's below, it's kind of a piece of felt to lay it under the paper, because this paper is really thin, and sometimes, depending what ink or painting you're using, it bleeds through. So you don't want to ruin your work surface. I bought all these things at the Japanese dollar store, at the Daiso store, when I went to Japan on vacation a few years ago. But I'm sure you can get them on Amazon. So I'm just going to sketch some of these fun little fish. My painting is gonna be only black and white. I know I have color in this one, but I'll do just the black and white one. I just love the kind of movement. And I know with this paper, there's no turning back. Once you put brush to paper, that's it. You can't fix mistakes or anything. That's kind of the things that I find exciting about this and that I really like. So I need to be mindful of all my brush strokes and try to not mess up too much. This might look nothing like my previous sketch, but I'm just gonna go with like very loose, sketchy type of lines. I love like how the koi fish have all these fins and things. They're really fun to sketch. One thing with this paper though that you'll notice is that it water control is super important. You have this paper absorbs water a lot, and your paint or ink can go all over the place if you're not careful. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. I find it really fun and exciting to just, I don't know, try new mediums and just like see how it works. So I only used this paper a few times. I bought it a few years ago, like I said, but I've been intimidated to use it. And I thought this would be a great way to put it to good use. So when I've seen folks that are really good at this type of like Chinese and Japanese brush painting and calligraphy, they make really strong, decisive strokes, and they're not afraid to mess up. It's like amazing. They have such mastery of their medium, and these people practice like for years and years. I'm always afraid to mess up, so I feel like it's a challenge for me to do this type of painting, and maybe that's what's kind of thrilling about it, just the fact that anything can go wrong. So usually for this type of brush painting, you won't go over your lines more than once. It's like part of the freshness of it is to do it once and not go over them, because I don't feel as comfortable as I probably should. I'm going over some of my lines to make them darker. I feel like I used a medium shade of my ink first. I probably should have used a darker shade. But I have to say, I kind of love like these types of bamboo brushes and this type of ink. It's just makes me so happy to use it. It's hard to explain, but it's just like so much fun. And if you don't have any of these supplies, like you don't need to buy any of them really to do this type of painting or drawing. You can just use whatever you have. Let's say you have watercolor, and you can just use a dark watercolor like a black or sepia or indigo, and do monochrome type of drawing or painting. And for the paper, you can just use any like mixed media paper. even some sketchbooks that are meant for dry media might take ink or light watercolor wash as well. So you can just do that and use any brush, what Western type brushes, and just try to have fun with it. So that's my fish. I kind of like how they came out, but I feel like I need some shading, so I'm gonna use like lighter color ink that I have here to create some depth. So I'm just running this by like the areas that would have shadow. And this paper gets really wet really quickly, as you can see. But you can instantly see how much that few strokes added so much depth to the fish. Yeah, and the beauty of this is that you are kind of stuck with what you, like that brush stroke, that's it. You can't change it, you can't fix it or lift it like you would with watercolor. You can't erase it like you would with graphite. You can't use masking or nothing like to fix it. So it is what it is. So I think that's what makes it really fresh and really fun. And every now and then I feel like that's what I need. Now I feel like I need a little bit of, I don't know, squiggly lines for the water. So these fish were in a pond. So I feel like I need something to insinuate that this is like happening underwater. And I'm just playing and doodling here. And that's it for this drawing. I really like the way it came out. It's meant to be a really quick, fun, kind of warm up sketching exercise. I love how the fish, to me, they represent the yin and the yang of like Chinese philosophy. So it kind of goes really well with all the materials. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. I post videos like this all the time. So please follow me and turn on the bell so you can get notified. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.